Hey, what's going on YouTube? How's it going today? Hopefully your day is going good. I have a little story to share and I want to go ahead and make this video about teen bodybuilding. Now before we even get into this, how can I give advice if I'm still a teenager? Well, I'll be turning 20 in October, so it's good enough. I'm 19 right now. I was lifting weights today. Let's see, what time is it? It's about 8:10. I just got done at about 7:45 roughly. And someone came up to me today during my, biceps today, because my triceps were fried, so I decided to just do biceps today. And he's like, I think he was probably about 13 or 14 years old, I want to say. He was brand new to the gym. And he was asking me for advice on lifts. He's like, obviously I'm new to lifting, but I want to go ahead and start getting into that bodybuilding world. I'm learning about nutrition and lifts and everything like that. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, that's actually like a good video idea. So I explained basically my tips. I gave him, I think, like 5 or 6 tips, and basically saying that, hey, you should follow these, man, because these are what's got me some of the best results I can ever ask for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get in the video, and I'll go ahead and share the tips that I shared with him with you guys. I'm Mikolajczak, and welcome to Mikolajczak Fitness YouTube channel.
Look, mama, I made it to Forbes.
Alright guys, so the first ever tip / question that always came to my head, and a lot of the times when I first ever started lifting, was, Bobby, what is your goal? What does your goal involve? What should it be? Do I want to bulk? Do I want to cut? Do I want to put on as much muscle as I can? Do I want to lose fat? What is your goal? And I feel like this is the #1 thing with new lifters, is they don't know what to do. You sometimes have the skinny fat, you sometimes have the overweight, you sometimes have the underweight, and you don't really know which direction to go. My #1 tip out of all these tips, I would say, is to choose what you want to do. The best way to doing this is if you look in the mirror and you literally see yourself. Ask yourself the simple question: do I want to lose weight? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then I would suggest going on a little cut, getting down to a good body fat, and then doing a lean bulk from there. If you think you're in good enough shape and you're at a low enough body fat percentage, you want to go ahead and put on muscle, then start a bulk, start a lean bulk, be in a small caloric surplus, and go ahead and start a bulk. I feel like I remember walking into the GNC by my house. I remember getting my first ever tub of whey protein, and I remember saying this is gonna help me build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Now, granted, with saying that, technically you can get newbie gains. If not really tracking but you're lifting, you are gonna get some gains. But scientifically speaking, you cannot basically lose fat and put on muscle without some type of performance enhancing drug. It is simple as that, and I feel like a lot of people when they first start out, going into either your first month, first year, second year, is they're so concentrated on doing both at the same time. And in reality, you're actually wasting your time. And I feel like if you were to really focus on either a bulk or a cut, you would get better results. With this being said, I suggest that a lot of the people, there's a lot of younger people come into the gym, is that you just focus on eating in a small caloric surplus and just lifting. Simple as that. People tend to overcomplicate things, and they want to cut, they want to get those abs for the summer. But in reality, you're not going to look that good if you don't have muscle on you. So I always suggest putting on some muscle, and then maybe later on in the future, 1-2 years, then you do a small cut, and then you show off that muscle that you've put on. So guys, choose bulk or cut. Don't waste your time. Choose one or the other. Or honestly, you can even maintain, but obviously with new people, you're not going to want to maintain. You always want to improve. Always. So choose one, bulk or cut. Let's move on to tip number 2. So guys, tip number 2 is going to be probably one of my favorite ones in my last bulk. I've talked about this a lot, and I feel like this is probably one of the most beneficial ones as well, is leaving your ego at the door. So with this being said, I was that guy, and I see a lot of this happen all the time. You come in, you bench press, right? Come up here, stop right here, go up, doing little reps, right? Your elbows are flared, everything like that. You can't control the weight. You're putting on 2 plates when you can only really bench a plate and a quarter. And you're always putting your ego, you want to go ahead and impress all these people at the gym. When in reality, guys, that's not going to work out, and more than likely you're not going to get injured, nor are you going to get the results that you want. The reason I say this, because if you really focus on actually bench pressing correctly or deadlifting correctly, squatting, any exercise, you really focus on lightening the weight, but doing enough weight so you can rep it out between 8 to 12 reps, and you're really repping it out hard. So by that, I mean basically if you hit that 10th rep, that's a hard 10th rep, 9 and then 10. All right, cool. We're good, right? It's with correct form. You're actually hitting the chest, the pecs themselves. You're not doing this. You're not bringing more shoulders into play, not bringing more triceps into play, your back and your lats into play. Same thing with deadlift, same thing with, any movement, anything like that. I see this all the time, and I feel like if I knew this from the start, I would have made a lot more gains, because the second I started lowering the weight, using correct form and focusing on squeezing that muscle, that's when I started making the gains. But keep in mind, I still was lifting heavy, but heavy in the sense of I can control it, leave my ego at the door, and make progression. If you're going to keep ego lifting, essentially, you're not going to make that much progression because you're not really breaking down that muscle, you're not breaking down the fibers, and you're not going to make improvements. So essentially, this is going to be my number 2 tip, because I feel like it's one of the most important ones as well. Especially with injuries. Guys, oh my gosh, I've seen this so many times. With bench press especially, I've seen people, these 15-year-old kids, literally tear their pec. It was like one of the scariest things literally ever. It was, I don't ever want to see it again. Same thing with squats. Don't be that guy who literally, boom, just quick up and down, doesn't even break parallel at all. You're not going to make gains. I see it happen all the time. These kids who come in, got nothing against it, but they're not making any gains. They're not making results. They've been lifting for a year because they're not using correct form and they're not actually using those muscles. So tip number 2 is definitely leave your ego at the door. Do a weight that you can do for 8 to 12 reps and make sure those 8 to 12 reps are good, hard 8 to 12 reps. And that's when you'll see the most progress. Tip number 3 is going to be focusing on your nutrition. So kind of like the bulk and cut, but the nutrition I feel like is the most, probably hands down, the most important thing outside of the gym. So I always like to tell people it's 80 to 85% of what your results are going to withhold. So if you're in a caloric deficit, you're going to be losing fat, and in caloric surplus, you're going to be putting on muscle and a little bit of fat as well. I feel like when people go to the gym, they lift and then they go about their day. That's totally fine. But if you go about your day and you're not tracking your nutrition, not making sure that you're getting the right amount of protein, fats, and carbs, you're not going to make that many results. You are going to make some in the beginning, but overall time, if you're not watching your nutrition, you're not going to make that many more results. So with this being said, do you have to track macros every day, right? Do you have to track everything? No, you don't. Just make sure all your meals, or a lot of them at least, are getting nice, whole, a good amount of protein, a good amount of carbs, and a good amount of fats. All depending on your goals and everything like that. I feel like a lot of people throw nutrition off to the side. That's another reason why you're not getting results. It's because you're not watching it. Do you necessarily have to track it like I said? No, you do not. But you should always kind of keep an eye on it and kind of keep in mind that you should be getting the right amount of protein, carbs, and fats, and making sure that you're eating enough and knowing enough about nutrition to be able to get the results, whether it's losing weight or putting on muscle. This is going to help you so much in the gym, because if your nutrition is not on point, your results are not on point. So with this being said, I feel like tip number 4 has to be make a plan. Nutrition-wise, workout-wise, cardio-wise, if you want to do some cardio as well, you should always have a plan going into the gym. They always say when you go into something without a plan, you're bound to fail. Simple as that, guys. I mean, in the beginning, you could just go in there and lift and track a little bit of nutrition, yeah, but over time, if you want overall results, then I feel like you have to track some stuff. And you have to have a plan. You have to have, I believe, a split and a good nutritional plan, and it's going to help you a lot with your results. I see a lot of people get angry because they're not getting results. And I'm like, okay, what's your split? What's this? What's that? Like, oh, I don't have one about nutrition or anything like that. I don't have a split. I always recommend having a plan. That way you can moderate your stuff and you can monitor what's going on. So if I'm going to have shoulders and the next time I'm hitting chest, and you're not benching as much as you usually do. Why is that? Maybe because your shoulders are already fried from the day before. So I always recommend having a plan, having a split, and know about your nutrition as well. So last but not least, tip number 5 to keep it very simple is, guys, just please have some fun. Simple as that. I cannot tell you, when I first ever started at the gym, when I first ever started lifting, I would always just get so down on myself if I was off by a little thing, if I didn't get the weight that I want to on bench press or deadlift or squat or anything like that. I'd always get so down. It brought my mood down and almost demotivated me because I didn't want to lift. If I wasn't hitting the weight, I'd be like, all right, screw it. I'm not going to lift anymore. But guys, have some fun. Go in the gym, lift some weight, eat some food, and have some fun. Don't listen to others. Focus on yourself. I feel like this is like hands down one of like the number one things mentally that you have to realize is that it's you versus yourself. The person looking into that gym mirror is looking at themselves. It's you versus you. It's as simple as that. And I think that's why bodybuilding and working out and everything like that is so much fun, because you're the one who determines what kind of results you're going to get. Not what other people are saying or what other people want you to do, but yourself. And I feel like that's the most like awesome thing ever. And just have some fun with it, guys. Seriously, don't get too down on yourself if you don't hit a certain weight. You know, we all have bad days in the gym, trust me. Sometimes you'll hit 225 on deadlift for 10 reps. You know, the next session you can only hit it for 5, a hard 5. It happens, guys. Have some fun and don't get down on yourself if things don't always go correctly, because that's just life. And things don't always go correctly. You gotta learn, love it, and enjoy the process. Alright guys, so that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for these 5 simple tips. I could get more into it, but I really don't want to, because I feel like a lot of people complicate bodybuilding and gaining muscle and losing fat, and it doesn't need to be complicated. It's a very simple thing, and hopefully these 5 tips can help you guys out as far as starting off in the gym. If you guys have any questions, like I said, always email me, always message me on YouTube, comment below if anything like that. I can go ahead and answer to the best of my knowledge for you guys. Hopefully these tips are helpful for you guys. We're going to go ahead and end today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next video.